Good morning, everybody. Before I start, thank you very much for everyone for the coverage we had from the launching of the Shield the other day. It was fantastic media and we got really great reaction from it. So thank you very much. My name's Brenton Ramsey. I'm the chair of Variety, the children's charity in South Australia. Welcome to Ken and Matthew to this morning. Thank you for coming. Variety has signed a new 3-year deal with the Port Adelaide Football Club and the Adelaide Football Club. This deal started in 2018 and we were absolutely wrapped with what happened in the first 3 years with the two clubs, and we were delighted that we were able to sign a new 3-year deal. In COVID times, even in COVID times, with limited funds, Variety was able to help about 25,000 kids in South Australia last year. And this gives kids in need in South Australia the opportunity to be the best they can be, and that's what Variety does. Variety will support the Power Community Youth Program and the Adelaide Crows Foundation Inclusive Academy over the next 3 years to the total value of $600,000. It's not insignificant by any means. It's $100,000 a year per club for 3 years. This funding will see Variety as the major partner of the Power Community Youth Program, where 9,000 young people in South Australian schools with high index of disadvantage over the next 3 years will be positively impacted by the program and promotes a message of healthy lifestyle, respect, along with lessons on science, technology, engineering and mathematics delivered by role models from the Port Adelaide Football Club. It will also see Variety as the major partner of the Adelaide Crows Foundation inaugural exclusive academy, which was launched yesterday. This 4-week program will see children aged between 10 to 15 with special needs train alongside Adelaide's men and women's players to develop key football skills while making new friendships and learning how to work as part of a team. Launching in July, this program aims to engage, enrich and inspire the lives of children and youth in our community this year, with plans to grow the program in future years. Variety generates funds to support not only individual families but also agencies like the Adelaide Crows and the Port Adelaide Football Club, who then provide specialised services to children in need. So like football, everyone plays their role. Both Port Adelaide and the Adelaide Football Clubs have expertise in running these programs, and our funding is the most effective and efficient model to broaden our reach to less fortunate kids in South Australia. We at Variety are rapt that we are continuing our work with both Adelaide and the Port Adelaide Football Clubs. In these times of COVID disruption, this is something we're really proud of. Everyone in South Australia should be really proud of this. It's a great positive news story. And this message is bigger than football, and we are very proud of the two clubs for committing to this initiative. Thank you very much.
Sloaning went well this morning again, so off the back of specialist giving him the all clear, yeah, he'll play. So this morning was just that last tick off to make sure he felt right to go. But yeah. Well, I'm not the eye expert, but we've consulted with the experts and he's been given the all clear. So from a footy point of view, he's had now just over a month out. That'll be a challenge for him coming back in, but we know what sort of player he is. He'll put his head over it, and it's a hard one to keep him out of, to be honest.
What about Brown and Hamill? Where are they at?
Yeah, so they'll both play as well. So we'll have the 3 changes going in.
So it's going to be
There's a few. Well, I won't give you the 4th one, but yeah, we're sitting there. Brown and Hamill, they're 2 really, really good ins for us from an experience point of view. Brownie's really important to us down back. Will's very much part of the future, and when we look at our opposition, we've got huge respect for. They've got some speed, ahead of the ball, and Will brings that. So he was a really important one for us. We're glad he's fit and ready to go. Yeah, to give you some clarity around Tom and how the season's played out, Tom's pushed through and played, probably not at 100%. We know that. We talked about, he was requiring assistance for a number of weeks there to get himself right. That's not unusual in our game for players to need some support to get themselves up and about. Super important player for us from a leadership point of view and experience, and was very important, throughout that first month of footy where a young group were playing, right at the level. As weeks went by, Tom began to struggle a little more with the body and performance. He's an ultimate professional. He wants to perform well for his team as well as for himself, and it got to that point where the toe just wasn't seeing enough improvement. We were hoping that we would see some improvement in it. Unfortunately for him, it didn't come through, and then he's made the decision now with our doctors and medicos on the best course going forward for him is to actually get that operation done, give him an opportunity to perform towards the end of the year and bring something back to the team again.
Hindsight's one thing, but can you admit now that you got it wrong in one sense like playing in that?
No. If you look at the month and the way it played out prior, we've been playing Tom for 4 or 5 weeks prior to that in a very similar situation. We were looking to manage Tom throughout those last couple of games, just from a loads point of view, and we're doing that in game that goes unnoticed. We've got players now with 75 rotations that play 60% game time. So there's a lot of things we'd like to look back over and maybe change the way we went about it. But from Tom and our point of view, we wanted to push through. We really wanted him. He's an important part of what we were trying to do as a footy club, and he still is now. We're hoping this operation gets him back on track. No, when you're talking about toes and joints, there's a little bit of uncertainty around that. We made some decisions, both the club and Tom, about how we approached that. We were looking for some improvement, didn't quite get the improvement we were after. We knew that was going to be a challenge going in. As I said, we've made a decision now, and we look forward to him coming back.
Yep. Yeah, we'll bring Trav in and we'll bring Kane Farrell in. We'll have Boyd Woodcock, Sam Mays and Marty Fredericks will go out. One of those boys will play sub, so that's where we'll be.
Obviously, the strength in the midfield, that's obviously a key area.
Yeah. Yeah, Rory Sloane's a good in for them, and Trav Boak's a real good in for us too, so I reckon both boys will make it pretty even with who's coming in.
What do you expect from that when you look at last week, or do you look at their form line a month before?
Oh, they've been really consistent, I think, from round one right through. When we've seen what they bring, we've seen their pressure, and when they're hunting, they get a pretty good result. And they've played some pretty damaging football, to be fair, over the course of the first 7 rounds, and they've been able to score heavily. They're a real threat for us, and we know that, and we've got to make sure we're at our best. Yeah, the unfortunate part about, and Mixie will now know that Marty's probably going to could end up our sub, but the reality is you've got to make extra changes when you deal with the team you're dealing with. And Marty's been in pretty good form. His first 2 games have been pretty exciting, to be honest, and we think he's a pretty exciting part of the future. But yeah, he's a little unfortunate, but we've got a couple of players coming that we think are pretty important too. What do you think it'll do to our half-back structure?
I was going to say.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably a chance that Bergman or Houston might go back, and someone else will play a bit more mid. There's a Robbie Gray type player who's pretty good in the showdown, so he might get a bit more midfield time. There's all those sort of things. We've got great flexibility in our front half with the players who can and can't go on ball, and on same down our back end now. We've got a bit more flexibility, which is good.
Where's Zach Butters out of interest in terms of his recovery? It seems it's been 3 to 4 weeks for about 3 or 4 weeks in terms of his timeline.
I think you're a bit unfair there. Zach's actually hadn't been finished surgery for 3 weeks. It's a 6 to 8 week injury. He's had syndesmosis operation. I'm not sure where you're wanting to take me with that one, but Zach's on recovery.
I'm just going on the club's medical update. The club said 3 to 4 weeks in April 19.
Yeah, well, he's had surgery, so he's not going to get back within any shorter time than 6 to 8 weeks, I'd imagine. But if he can get back early, we'd love him back early. He's a pretty important player. But we got Lockie Jones, same. He had same operation. Right now, if you looked at two of them, they were a week apart on surgery. Lockie's probably a little bit in front of Zach, so they do behave differently.
Ken, you'll see a return to full capacity crowd here tomorrow. First time in what feels like an eternity. How exciting is that as a prospect, given the rivalry?
It's fantastic for a showdown. We both understand the importance of showdowns, and we understand the importance to the fans of the showdown, and that's what it's about. It's about the community, and it's our home game, so we expect that there'll be a big number of Port Adelaide people here. We certainly know there'll be some Adelaide people here at the same time, so it's great just for footy. Look, having fans back, we've all enjoyed having fans back every game this year, and it's there's another positive step.
Showdowns have a funny way of ignoring form years gone by. Disappointing last week against Brisbane. What do you need to turn around to secure it?
Yeah, I've got good history and good memories of what sides are and what they're not, whether they are where they are and not on the ladder. We just know, both of us know, that the showdown's won on the day, and it's not going to be won on where the ladder is or where the form is at the moment. We're both coming off a disappointing week last week, so I can expect both teams will be pretty fired up, and it's a showdown. We just spoke about it in our rooms about what the showdown means to us, and it's everything as far as our football season goes here in South Australia. We need to win showdowns, and everyone needs to win showdowns, but we put a high price on them.
What about you, mate? Port have been one of the four teams to the comp. Just very disappointing last week at home. What do you need to do to get a win against the Bounce?
Yeah, we've got to bounce back as well. As Ken said, we've played some pretty solid footy throughout the first 7 weeks, and the weekend was a real drop off in what we'd been bringing. So we know if we bring that again, we'll get touched up by a quality side. We know Port Adelaide are more than likely going to bounce back. They've shown, across the last couple of years that they're a very, very good side if you allow them to play the way they want to play. They've got some real weapons, so we've done our homework. We know them really well. We know what we've got to bring to beat them. It really comes back to, can we do that? Can we bring it on the day? So that's our challenge. I think you can look at the pre-season to see how far we've come. We were working on things, and the last time we played, Port was in a pre-season game where a lot of things were just off the mark. So we know if we're just off the mark, we know what the result will be. We've come a long way since last year. We've got a group now that are connected. They're doing a lot of work on consistency. We'd like to think and pride ourselves that we'll bounce back after last week, where we were convincingly beaten around the contest, and I think both teams will be hungry for that contest this weekend. We've got two very important players coming back in, our captain, their former captain, who both love that fight, so we've improved out of sight.
Yeah, Ollie's just in that sweet spot of a career, I reckon, and he's taken a little while to get where he'd like to be, but he just 100% knows what he brings to the team, and he's really comfortable to provide that with the team. Doesn't mean he's going to play great the game tomorrow night. I'd back him in to say he's going to play very well because he's had a great consistent start to the season, and last week, as you said, he was one of the shining lights along with Willem Drew. I thought around the ball that they actually gave us a chance, but we weren't able to capitalise either in front or behind the ball. Ollie's in good form. You just know when a player's comfortable, and I think he understands his role. I think that's where Ollie is right now. That doesn't mean he's got 22, let's hope more than that, great games in him every week, but he'll be pretty close to being good, I reckon.
Do you want me to answer it? We hope he has an off night, for starters. But no, we've had a good look, and we respect where the whole team is at, not just Ollie. Ollie's in some rare form. It's amazing what confidence can do too for a player, so that's going to be a big challenge for us, and we've hopefully some of the ins that we've got coming in with big bodies, we know we need to match that. He's not an easy matchup because he is a big, strong inside mid, but he's got the ability to get outside as well. Sloaney's an important leader in around that stoppage, and he'll go straight in there. We'll play him in around the footy, and sometimes leadership and an understanding of the game, especially in a showdown, it's going to be hot for 5-10 minutes at the start. And then it slowly evens itself out and becomes a game of footy. Sloaney will be very important that first 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, it could be a possibility they get near each other at some point. Yeah, yep. Yeah, and obviously we dive extremely deep into that and have a look at it as a club. It's more than just offence. It's a mix. It's right across the board. I mentioned contest before. Last week we were touched up by a very good side. You look at some of the players they've got going through there. If you let them get going, then you're in trouble. We did that. It's the same this week. So from a scoring point of view, I think you've got to be careful not just to look at what we're doing with the ball. We've done a fair bit of work during the week on what that looks like for Saturday night. I'm sure our guys will get it right.
Preparing for Port, how much do you look back at the pre-season games versus, say, the past few games that they've played?
I mean, we used the pre-season games. We were lucky to be able to play against Port Adelaide in the pre-season. They were, they're an experienced side. They played enough footy together, and they're connected. And at that stage earlier in the year, a lot of teams take some time to get there. Well, that wasn't the case for them. So we learned a hell of a lot from those first two games. And we showed that when we came out round one v Geelong. We've kept that form going. We dropped away on the weekend. There's no doubt we learned a fair bit from last time we played them. And if things go to plan and that there are plans in place, hopefully we don't see the same result. Well, I think it is a big deal. I think rivalries are fantastic for the game, for any sport. You look across the world, there's some fantastic rivalries, all over the world and in all different sports. And this is one of the best. We don't like them much. We get along okay when it's not footy, but I think on Saturday night, he's not going to like me much, hopefully, if we get our game going. But we talk to a lot of past players and we look back over the history of what showdowns are. And I think it's even at the moment. It's a great rivalry, so we embrace that. And I think that the best part about it, Ken mentioned it earlier, it's the supporters that, we're so lucky this year to have, hopefully a full stadium. And we know how passionate the Port Adelaide supporters are, so that's just going to add to the theatre.
So you sense there's something a different feel with this week within your playing group?
Oh yeah. There's a fair bit of passion there from both the experienced players, and then we've got some young players that, South Australian born. They know exactly what Showdown is. I mean, Jimmy Rowe, we've had to hold him back this morning in a captain's run. He's up and about. He's ready to go.
What about it internally there? But Ken, follow up from that question. How's the feeling given it's a Showdown this week?
Yeah, it's ready. It's ready to go and it's ready to be on. And we won't shy away from the fact that this is as big a game outside of finals for us as that we want to play and we want to win them. And it's a great rivalry because at 24 all, it's remarkable that you can be so close over such a long period of time. And we're looking for the opportunity to put our noses in front. We're going to go hard to get there.
Last couple.
We educate them. We give them an understanding of what it is. We talk about Ramsey. And it's on. Oh no! I mean, there's story. I mean, we all love the stories. We all love to hear about them. I wasn't any part to do it, but I love to hear the story about that. But I love the rivalry. I remember when I first got to Adelaide 8 and a bit years ago now, and one of the first things that I think Sando said to me at the time, he said, "Mate, rivalries are real and they're big. You probably don't quite understand them. So our job is to make sure we educate all our players, and they all understand, whether they're Victorians, whether they're Western Australians. We've got Mitch Georgiadis, he's ready to play in a showdown, he can't wait. He's heard enough about them, so they're as big as you get for us. In South Australian football, it's a great showpiece, and it's a real rivalry, and we love it.
So are you jealous, Nick? Is that a fair statement when he said that the Crows are jealous of Portsmouth?
It's a big call.
No further comment?
No.
Is the rivalry almost evident in your two relationships? I mean, for a long time you were the same coach in Fox, and now Nixon's standing next to you, Kenny, and saying he doesn't like you that much. How's that? Can we talk about how that's changed over the last few years?
Oh, that's the position you get put in, and we're fierce competitors. we would have been fierce competitors whether we played against each other, and when we worked together, we had to play together, we would have been the same people. But when they're the enemy, and that's what they are. They're the enemy.
How's the overwhelming favouritism takes for the second year in a row?
Doesn't mean a thing. I think we might have been favourites last week. That helped us. Didn't help us a bit. Favouritism in showdowns doesn't matter. Ladder position doesn't matter. The team who wants it the most matters.